I always thought it felt like sinking, driving home to our house at the end of Wayward Court. Even as a little kid, if I'd crawled into the back seat of my mom's car, eyes closed and napping, I would always find myself waking up somehow when something in me felt us going down and down, because something in me knew that sinking feeling meant we were almost home. Our house sat in a cul-de-sac, only accessible by one road, Wayward Court. Wayward Court breaks away from the intersections of downtown Brittlebone up on the hill and leads out, away from town at a steep, twisting downhill, surrounded by thick roadside forest. The further along the road you drive, the farther you get from town, and the farther down you go. Truth be told, the drive down Wayward Court into the cul-de-sac can be topographically unnerving and unquestionably hell on getting back up the hill and into town during heavy winter snows. The drive can also present a very basic physical sense of foreboding. Going down and down into a place where there's only one way back up. Trees growing taller around you, stretching out over the road and enveloping you in a steep, twisted tunnel of forest shadow. As you drive along, the air starts to feel a bit heavier, letting you know that you're getting closer and closer to the river at the bottom of the valley. When the trees break, you pull into the cul-de-sac at the street's end. And there, you're greeted by a circle of basic little one-story houses. Assorted vinyl-sided homes, 7 of them, stamped on rectangle concrete pads at regular intervals. All of them circled in by the surrounding forest. The homes sit on concrete slab foundations. They don't have basements since the land is down in the valley at river level, presenting a constant threat of flooded basements. The different households adorn their homes with different decor. Some weathered white lattice here and mischievously peering lawn gnomes there. One neighbor I remember specifically had 2 old timpani drums in her yard, one fixed on either side of her driveway. She'd filled the giant copper drums with dirt, and a vibrant bramble of petunias spilled over the rims, while the bronze coloring of the timpanis slowly tarnished over years into chalky green. Apart from the garden decor decisions made by the separate residents, all the lawns of the houses in the cul-de-sac were otherwise exactly the same. Plain, flat grass. The green of the front lawns sliced into even portions by the driveways that ran up from the cul-de-sac to the sides of each house. It is important for me to describe the uniformity of the houses in the cul-de-sac in this much detail because sitting way down in that valley, only separated from the river by a healthy dose of forest, all of these details, the vinyl siding, the concrete slab foundations, the flat green treeless lawns, held true for every house in the circle except one. The house at 816. The home at the address of 816 Wayward Court is 2 stories tall, the only two-story tall home in the cul-de-sac. Beneath its 2 stories is a basement, the only basement beneath a house with a Wayward Court address. Instead of being clad in vinyl siding to match its neighbors, the home's exterior is brick. And as long as I can remember, that brick was always painted a dark gray, though the gray coat of paint would sometimes chip and flake here and there, revealing little streaks of unpainted red beneath. Unlike the plain grass lawns of every other house in the circle, 2 massive pine trees stand in the front yard of 816. Their branches crashing and twisting into each other about 10 feet in the air, almost perfectly framing a view of the front of the house beneath them. A massive swell of hedge bush grows against the home, running the whole house round, mostly obscuring the first floor windows and only parting to make way for the front and back door. The house, uniquely large, gray, and cast in the shadows of the only trees actually in the cul-de-sac, half sunk, but emerging from the thick, dark garden of surrounding hedge. It makes an impression. What this means is, after driving down the steep, twisting hill of Wayward Court and into the circle, an act that can already present a visitor with an eerie, uneasy feeling, the physical presentation of the house at 816 instantly causes an unsettling effect on those that find themselves in the circle. The house keeps a very obvious sense of otherness that some could interpret as ominous. There is, of course, nothing truly tangibly dangerous or threatening about bricks and paint and a couple of trees, but we noted in the Barkers of Brittlebone episodes the importance that arrangement can have. Could it be possible that a particular arrangement of bricks and paint and a couple of trees could conjure up an ability to play host to something more than just eerie feelings? Well, here is where we crack into the heart of this shadowy legend and reveal something of a shocking truth about the home. Being the most notorious house and arguably the most lore-filled part of a lore-filled town comes with some big expectations. And the house at 816 seemingly lets all of them down. The truth is, there is absolutely zero evidence or documented history pointing towards a reason why the house at 816 had so long been considered haunted. I have compiled research, perused databases, I've checked the county auditor site, realty sites, every available online source that can make you deeply concerned about the amount of information that you can find out about a place online. And here is what I've uncovered about the house at 816. It is a 2-story, 3-bed, 1-bath, 2,500 square foot home with an unfinished basement. It has one fireplace. It has forced air heating. And it has a concrete foundation built in what is estimated to be 1891. We know how much the house is estimated to be worth today, and we know that it's not listed as for sale or for rent by the owner. We know that that current owner is listed as a Graft Properties. We're able to find from a few sources that on October 3rd, 2001, a married couple deceased inside the home in an apparent murder-suicide. But prior to that date, we're not able to find a single documented incident that could be pointed to as to why everyone has always claimed the house was haunted. The house had harbored 0 documented deaths, no rumors of traumatic events or torture in the basement, or witchcraft, or seances, or even a Ouija board game night that had spiraled wildly out of control. By all accounts, the reputation of the house at 816 seemed to be built upon 2 things. 1, it looked spooky. And 2, it is true that none of the residents of 816 seemed to stick around very long. People would move in, stay a year or 2, and move away. Then the house would sit unoccupied for a while before someone else would move in, stay maybe a year or 2, and would move away. That said, nobody ever came running out of the house, screaming in the middle of the night. The tenants hadn't been notably haunted-looking people. And in retrospect, it was like the people who lived in that house could have been versions of the Barkers, with only the idyllic backstory, and with lives that hadn't spiraled into mayhem across the street. From what little I'd hear, the reasons given for people moving out of the house was always disappointingly standard stuff. No stories of phantoms or poltergeists, only tales of new job offers, better school districts, or wanting to move someplace where the basement wasn't flooding all the time. In a strange twist, this lack of weird claims sets the house at 816 apart from the other houses in the Wayward Circle in one more extremely curious way. For a house that would look pretty haunted anywhere, 816 wasn't just anywhere. It was in the Wayward Circle, a place where things were said to happen. Things well beyond simply feeling weird for driving down a hill or looking ominous in the shadow of trees. Strange enough, after peeling back the veneer of 816's reputation and taking a look underneath at the absence of stories that had come out of that house, we find something of a revelation. That 816 may have indeed been the outcast of the cul-de-sac for a reason other than its looks. Because according to the claims that would regularly pour out of my neighbors who lived in the other houses in the cul-de-sac, 816 just may have been the least haunted house in the Wayward Circle. So I was just working on wrapping up this episode with stories about claims coming from within the Wayward Circle. But I got an email with a different kind of message. The email is from a listener who says that she lives in Brittlebone, and she's attached a video to her email as proof that what she writes is true. The email reads, "Hi, my name is Heather. I live in Brittlebone, and I just started listening to your show. I never heard of the Barker family murders before, and I never knew about the stairs in the woods being burnt down. But I wanted to let you know that if they were, then somebody has rebuilt them, because there's a staircase out in those woods right now